Hi, my name is Pastor Hal York, and welcome to Truth in the Trenches. Today we're going to be in Proverbs chapter 11, verse 1. Several years ago, Billy Joel recorded a song that was called Honesty. There may be some of you who remember it. I won't sing it for you here, but the words of the chorus went like this. Honesty is such a lonely word. Everyone is so untrue. Honesty is hardly ever heard, and mostly what I need from you. Why is honesty so rare? Because the God of this world is called a father of lies. Lies, not honesty and truth, are the dominant character trait of our society. Now, that may be an overstatement, but it drives home the point, a very important point set forth in our verse for today. That a false balance is an abomination to the Lord, but a just weight is his delight. This is a verse that talks about honesty in business and in commerce. Dishonesty is not something minor in the eyes of God. He calls it an abomination. And as we know, that is a very strong word. Not many words stronger than that to show God's disapproval of something. But elsewhere, Proverbs says, a just balance and scales are the Lord's. All the weights in the bag are his work. Unequal weights and unequal measures are both alike an abomination to the Lord. Elsewhere he says, unequal weights are an abomination to the Lord, and false scales are not good. Leviticus 19 says, you shall not do wrong in judgment, in measures of length or weight or quantity. You shall have just balances, just weights. Honesty is another word for truth. Society, relationships, business, commerce cannot function properly without honesty and without truth. This verse shows us clearly that God takes notice in how we conduct our business affairs. A false balance. As we know, when merchants traveled, deceitful ones carried two sets of measures that were often painted rocks with a weight marked on them. Dishonest merchants had two sets, one for selling and one for buying. The most common way of measuring was a balance scale. It had one tray on one side and one tray on the other. If you bought a pound of grain or a pound of hamburger, there would be a corresponding weight on the other side that when it balanced, you know you had a pound of whatever it was you were buying. If you were buying, the stone would be a little more than the pound, even though it said a pound. If you were selling, it would be a little less than a pound. And people may call it smart business, but God called it an abomination, and he still does. Honesty and integrity seems so simple, yet how little of that do we see today? Everyone's trying to get ahead by cheating, by dishonesty. Employee theft is an epidemic in our culture. And some will say, well, I'm not stealing from the person, I'm stealing from the company. But the point you seem to be missing is you're stealing. And who pays for that? We all do. It's getting harder and harder to take people at their word anymore. It's getting harder and harder to trust people, to find honest people. They are obviously out there, and as we as believers should be, above all people, honest, people of our word. People who can be trusted. God hates a false balance. It's an abomination. Lying lips are an abomination to the Lord, but those who act faithfully are his delight. Honesty, trust, and faithfulness, they all go together. Once dishonesty takes hold in a commerce, everything escalates. Everyone thinks they have to do it to get ahead and to keep up. We've no doubt read this in Proverbs chapter 20, verse 14. Bad, says the buyer. But really, it should read, bad lies the buyer, because he's lying. They're not being honest. They're trying to deceive the seller, knowing full well what his item is worth. Well, how do we know that? Because it says when he goes away, then he boasts. Such dishonesty should not be found among believers. We will be honest. We should be honest in all our transactions, in our buying and our selling. Honesty may be a lonely word, but it is a blessed word. It is a word that we as believers should seek to be known by. Telling the truth, honest in our dealings with others. You may find yourself at odds with colleagues who want to cut corners and pad the bills. But honesty with our spouses, with our friends, with our children, teaching our children the value of being honest, as hard as it may be at times, it's what we need from each other. That person in front of you needs you to be honest, and you need them to be honest as well. A false balance is an abomination to the Lord, but a just weight is his delight. May it be our desire to live people who bring delight to the Lord in our dealings with others. May this truth guide us and guard us in the trenches of life as we seek to live our lives for the glory of God and the good of others. May God bless.